Welcome back everybody to episode 5 in our F1 Manager 22 career mode, role playing as Dario Franchitti being the boss man at AlphaTauri. Got the Miami Grand Prix up today, and we do have some decisions to make because, as I mentioned at the end of last video, I've skipped up to the 2nd of May and we have the aerodynamic testing period has started. So we got to figure out what we want to do with our wind tunnel time and our fluid dynamics time. In terms of the regulation changes for next year, the only two parts that have been affected are the chassis and side pods. So I'd like to get a head start on those, but we also could do with continuing to upgrade the car. So I don't know if we should stop development on the 2022 car and focus solely on 2023, or if we should try and juggle both. I'm leaning towards juggling both, at least for this aerodynamic period, and then maybe in the next one we turn our focus more to the 2023 car, but I'm not 100% sure. We will have a look at what we have though. Inbox. We've got a few emails. Poor gearbox condition for Pierre. We will give him a fresh one for Miami. As I just mentioned, the aero testing has now started today. Patrick Stafford comes in saying that the board is very confident in our leadership, so we don't have anything to worry about. Neil has a finance report for us. I think we should be fine for that because it usually tells you how much you have spent. So I'm not overly concerned about that. And our head of aero has sent us a message saying that the engine cooling on our vehicles could be improved. But again, I'm not overly concerned about that. So I guess we could have a look at the report. So let's have a look at our cost cap. It says we still got 106 million. We've spent basically 35. So I think we're looking pretty good. Most of them have been on upgrades to the facilities. So I think we should be fine regarding the rest of the year, but it is something we'll have to keep an eye on as we upgrade more and more stuff because they will incur more weekly costs. But we'll worry about that later, I think. Let's take a look at what we can do for the research. So as it says, minor technical changes for the chassis and side pods. So let's have a look at the side pods. We have 56 days until the next aero period. We have 76 wind tunnel hours and we have 5.7 fluid dynamic testing hours. So depending on how long everything takes. So let's see, let's do what we did last time and basically split it down the middle. So we'll go 2.9 and 38. We'll see how many hours this chews up. 40 days, and that's using one engineer. We might be able to get 3 things done. What can we drop it down to? 27, 29. That works out perfectly to be 56, doesn't it? Okay, I have to think about this. I will be back, I think, once I've selected what we're gonna do. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is make or design a brand new rear wing. It's going to take 50 days. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, we're going to rush through a design for the chassis, utilizing a third of our wind tunnel and fluid dynamics time. So we got 1.9 hours left in the fluid dynamics and 26 hours left in the wind tunnel, and we will put all of that in to either the research for the chassis or research for the side pods once this design is done in 20 days. So we'll lock that in. So as you can see, these are the projects we've got on the go. We are rushing through the chassis design, should be ready in 20 days. The rear wing is going to be ready in 50 days, and we're using the same 1.9 fluid dynamic hours and 25 wind tunnel hours. So that leaves us basically 36 days once the chassis is done to utilize the remaining 1.9 hours and 26 hours for a research project. I skipped ahead, and just before we head off to Miami, we have finished our scouting reports for both drivers we were doing in Vettel and Bottas, and we've also finished scouting the Red Bull head of aero. As you can see, Vettel's salary is pretty substantial, 14 mil, buyout fee of 4.7 mil. His contract is done after this year, so potentially there is an option to sign him for next year, but we'll see. Bottas, his scouting report says his salary is 18.5 mil, buyout fee of basically 15.5 because he's signed till the end of next year over at Alfa Romeo. So if I was picking one of those two, I would go with Vettel, but we will figure that out later, I guess. And Enrico is not interested at this stage because we are not high enough prestige for him, and he's signed for what, 4 years, 5 years? 5 years. Okay, that's a long contract. So if we want to get him, it's going to cost us just over 10 mil, and he wants a salary of 4.5. Okay, that's substantial. Worth it once we get to that stage as being a front-running team though, I feel. So like last time out in Imola, we are going to go with the same performance targets. So for qualifying, one driver to reach Q2, one to reach Q3, the race target to finish 12th with just a single driver, and then we are still on our qualifying position hot streak from last time. Okay, we're over on Pierre Gasly's car build, and you can see that I have swapped out his gearbox, so it's brand new. ZRS is still fine, so is the engine. We'll have a look at Yuki's car, but I don't think he needs it yet. His engine is still fine, so is his gearbox. He'll get through this race, at least, and we will worry about it for round 6. Nothing much else to do except head off to the race weekend, so I will catch you in Miami.
We're in the state of year-round summer. It's the Miami Grand Prix, and we're here in Florida at the Miami International Autodrome. The streets of Miami Gardens will come alive with the roar of racing, and the excitement is only just beginning. Spectacle is the name of the game here in Miami, with a stadium at the heart of this track. With long straights and S-bends, not unlike Suzuka's Sector 1, proper ERS management is sure to give drivers an edge towards victory. At this early stage in the season, there are still plenty of opportunities for things to change. In this sport, there simply are no guarantees. Let the weekend begin!
We are all ready for practice, so I will catch you at the end of it.
Yellow flag there, yellow flag.
Let's take a look at the replay. Now just focus on the Haas. A definite collision there. They've crashed out! Let's see what happened there. Okay, so there we have the Alpine. Clearly something went very, very wrong there. And that was a bitter blow for the team, and it may have really hurt their overall chances.
That was a big shunt for Ocon there, and he is done for the session. VSC's out.
The brakes are really poor.
Confirmed? Confirmed.
Let's take a closer look. Now look at this, it's Pierre Gasly. And there we see the...
Alright, so that crash broke Pierre's front wing, so we'll bring him in and get it changed. That's the end of FP1 and a few incidents in that session. You saw Esteban Ocon crash out and have to retire from the session. Magnussen also locked up and busted up his front wing, as did Pierre. He also has minor chassis damage, so I don't know if that automatically gets changed for FP2. I think it does, but either way, I will catch you at the end of the next practice session. So it looks like they did replace the chassis in between sessions. Good to know.
Sounds like there's been contact. Here's the replay. Now just take a look at the McLaren. And there's the hit, and it's crystal clear who was in the wrong there. That's going to be a big blow to the team. Will they be able to recover? We'll see.
That was a massive hit. Stroll and Norris.
I think that was a crash. Let's have a look. We're just watching the Red Bull. That crash is terrible news for the team. And the team had such high hopes today. What a shame.
That was a pretty big hit for Max there. Verstappen is out as well now. So another incident-filled practice session there. You had Verstappen crashing out with about 12 minutes to go, and early on you had Lando Norris and Lance Stroll. It looks like Lando's got a grid penalty for that one, probably a 3 or a 5 place. Leclerc fastest in that session, our boys up there in 6 and 7. We did use the deploy for the ERS mode right at the end there. I sent Pierre out on the hards because he was quicker with getting his feedback, whereas Yuki only had like 8 minutes to go or something when he went out for his final run, so I stuck him on the softs. Pretty decent session for us. I will catch you at the end of FP3.
Thank you for joining us here today. Once practice is over, qualifying will be underway, and then the fight for pole begins. Yesterday's action gave us a fantastic taste of what is to come, and the anticipation within the paddock continues to grow. Qualifying promises to be as unrelenting as ever. Only the best, the most consistent drivers can progress from one period to the next and stand a chance of earning a place at the front of the grid. Here we go, folks. It's time to get started.
Yellow in the straight.
Let's take a look at the replay. Now let's watch this. The Alfa Romeo involved in this one. A definite collision there. We've just had a crash on the track. Let's take a closer look. Now just focus on the Haas. Dear me! There's been a crash. Here's the replay. All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here. That crash is terrible news for the team. The team are really disappointed with that. Let's hope it doesn't set them back too badly.
There was a big one for K-Mag there. And just like that, it's the end of FP3. We used the deploy mode again on the ERS to set our best laps, and as you can see, Pierre is crushing it, but Yuki is miles off, 8/10. Don't know what his issue is this weekend, but he's been pretty slow in comparison to Pierre in all 3 practice sessions so far. So he might struggle to get into Q3. Pierre's looking real good, so I'm not overly worried about that. There are a few incidents again in that session. A couple of harmless spins by, I think one was Ocon and the other Mick Schumacher. And then a pretty big hit for somebody. I want to say Joe, but I could be wrong about that. Somebody had a pretty big hit. I'm sure you'll see it in the highlights. A pretty decent session for us. I will catch you with the power of video editing at the end of qualifying. At the end of qualifying 1, we have managed to get both cars through. We just went out the once, and as you can see, Pierre is P5, just behind Lewis by 0.03 of a second. Yuki still 8/10 off, but only a tenth and a bit off Ricciardo for P10. So if he can find some time, he might be able to squeak through in to Q3, but we will see. Let's ride on board with Yuki for his last ditch attempt to get into qualifying 3. He's currently a tenth off Zhou Guanyu, but everybody except Charles Leclerc is out. So I'm expecting these guys to be improving. A lot of green sectors. Pierre is up on his first sector, as is Yuki. There is a minor gearbox wear notification for Yuki, so we'll get rid of that gearbox at the end of this race. Ricardo is through currently. On what time? He has done a 31.0. So he needs to find 3/10. Gasly is quicker at this stage as well, through sector 2. Need to refuel. Don't worry about that because he's coming up to the line. Pierre crosses the line and improves up to P4, finds about 4/10. If Tsunoda can do the same, then he's going to get into Q3. He does not, he only managed to find a couple tenths. So again, he misses out, starting P12, pending any penalties for the 11 in front of it. But a really good lap there from Pierre, only less than 4/10 off the top 3. It looks like it's going to be another Ferrari Red Bull battle, and maybe, like we did at Imola, we might be able to just hang on to their coattails for a good chunk of the race. But yeah, Yuki got eliminated there, but was to be expected. He has been 8/10 off Pierre all weekend, and Ricciardo was only 7/10 off him, so makes sense that he missed out there. So I'll go ahead and we might ride with Pierre's last lap, see what he can do. But otherwise, I will catch you at the end of Q3. As we ride with Pierre Gasly for his last lap in Q3, you can see he's got the freshest tyres of anybody. That could prove an advantage for him. Everybody is out on their final laps. As we cross the line with about 55 seconds to go. So Pierre will be the final man to set a time. Perez is quicker through sector 1 than he's been previously. Everybody else is not improving. Oh, Leclerc, purple through sector 1. And Gasly is green. So Perez, quicker in sector 1, slower in sector 2. He will be the first man across the line to set a lap time at the death. See what he can do. I don't think he improved. Leclerc is slower through sector 2 as well. Pierre is quicker. Charles crosses the line, does not improve. Pierre might, I don't know if he's going to be able to jump Sergio, but he might go pretty close. He needs to find a couple tenths, I think. No, he only managed to find a couple hundredths. But, second row, Verstappen could not improve. So he remains on the third row, so it's technically a Red Bull second row, just one of us is not the Big Brother team. So there's your confirmation. Charles Leclerc on pole again. Less than a tenth in front of his teammate. Perez a tenth and a bit behind Carlos. And then we're a couple tenths off that, starting P4 in front of Lewis and Max on the third row there. George and Valtteri on row 4, and then Fernando and Ricciardo round out the top 10. I think the only penalty was Lando, who missed out anyway, so I don't think Yuki will move up any spots.
The time has come to fight it out. It's race day.
AlphaTauri did rather well in qualifying. Let's see if they can manage to achieve a strong start for the race itself. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. And the clouds today look very ominous, which means that teams may have to contend with rain at some point during the race.
57 laps await our competitors here in Miami, so may the best driver win.
So we might get some rain for the race. It doesn't look like we will. It says it's clear skies, but Karun thinks we might get some later on in the day. That will certainly spice things up. We'll have to wait and see. Most likely it will be a one-stop strategy again, and this time I will probably put both of my drivers on the same strategy, since that has been a bit of an issue for us the last couple of races. Pierre's done really well, and then Yuki's kinda done nothing. So there we go. That's what we're going to go with. One stop strategy for both drivers, starting on the mediums, switching over to the hards around lap 25. Rain could be a possibility. Safety cars are always a possibility around this place. In every other playthrough that I've done so far offline, always been a bit of a chaotic race, the Miami Grand Prix. We'll see if that continues. I'll catch you after the race start.
It's a bit of a cloudy day for the race, but the atmosphere as ever is electric. And there we have Pierre Gasly. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. And behind them, there's Tsunoda. With their starting position in the back 10, they'll have their work cut out for them. Will their hard work pay off today? One of the newest races in F1, and hopefully one of the most exciting too. It's the Miami Grand Prix. It's lights out, and away we go.
And it's a decent start for Pierre. He maintains P3 in front of Lewis. Yuki maintains his P12. So we're all looking okay so far. We just need to make sure we can stay within the DRS of Sergio. Everyone's either on mediums or hards. Sainz and Perez are both on the hards in front of us, as is Hamilton, Verstappen and Russell behind us. Okay, we're going to push with Pierre now that he's gotten past both Sergio and Carlos. See if we can cut into that lead that Charles has while we're on the medium tyres and the other two are on the hards. Yuki is kind of chilling back in P12 still, within range of Danny Rick. So there we go. Pierre has caught up to Charles and has broken the DRS from Sainz and Perez behind him. So I'm going to go back on cruise control for a little bit and just see if we can hang with Charles. We do need Yuki to see if we can get past those guys. And see if he can get around Ricciardo down here as well. Might push the engine a tiny bit. As I look up the inside, down he goes. And we're gonna deploy, I think, and see if we can pull away. Oh, he's so close to being out of range for him, eh? I think he might have just done it.
Copy.
He has. We'll go back to neutral for that. See if we can close up to max. I don't know if we'll be able to, but we will try. Ah, they caught back up to him. They're back in DRS range. That's alright, we'll see if we can stay here for a bit. See what we can do. Pierre's still doing a pretty good job. Hanging on to the back of Charles. Got the fastest lap so far. And we've pulled 3.5 seconds on Sergio, who's still battling away with Carlos. Joe goes up the inside. Yeah, he's got way better brakes than what we have. Maybe I'll stick him on defend. If we can. If we have any at all. Verstappen's fallen off from Fernando as well. Yeah, I think we'll keep it on defend for Yuki right now. See how that goes. Okay, now Sainz and Perez are starting to close down. The gap is now 3 seconds. Bottas made an early pit stop before. What is he pitted onto? Hards? Yeah, Bottas is on hards. Vettel and Albon have already pitted as well. So has Stroll, possibly Latifi. Yes. Bottas is kind of stuck behind the Hasses right now. But if he clears them, he's probably got better pace. Ocon gets around Yuki. That's alright, we're still in that little 4-car train there, so I'm not overly concerned about that. Although Esteban needs to get a move on, otherwise he's going to lose DRS to Zhou Guanyu. Alright, we're at our pit stop. So Leclerc is in. So we are going to go aggressive on this lap. We're going to deploy everything we got for both of them. And we will box him. Actually, we won't do that for Yuki just yet. We'll keep him on neutral because he's still within range. So, but we will definitely box Pierre this time by. In comes Zhou Guanyu. Fernando's in as well. We will box Yuki as well. And we'll tell him to push. Why not? See what we can do here. We've gained about half a second on Perez and Sainz so far, but they do have a better car than us, and they'll be on softer compound tyres. And Ocon seems to have fallen out of DRS of Ricciardo. He might not have, it could just be my imagination. See where he comes out in relation to Charles. Oh, Sainz is in as well. Interesting. Looks like, yeah, there goes Leclerc. We'll watch Yuki, who's in as well. What is the gap? Who is on what? Leclerc is on hard tyres, and he's a couple seconds up the road. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to watch Yuki right now. I'm going to focus on Pierre, because we need to see if we can catch up to Charles.
Let's lift off, please.
See where Yuki comes out. Hopefully around Zhou. Might have to put him on push as well. We will. He's behind. So we'll keep it on this for now.
Copy.
See if we can catch up. Ricardo did get out in front of Zhou, and it looks like Tsunoda is nearly in range. I'm going to keep him on push a little bit more. I'm going to go back on balance for the fuel since we need to save a tiny bit for him. Pierre has dropped behind Carlos.
Ferrari, advance the race position.
But we're going to keep it on deploy with Yuki, see what we can do. Don't really want another... Oh, there's a crash in Sector 3.
It's a crash, and it's more than one car. Let's see what happened there. Now let's look at this. Here's George Russell. And that's a big...
Russell and Bottas. Oh, I think Yuki just got DRS. Handy. Needs to go though. Needs to catch up to Ricardo, who's fallen out of DRS of Zhou Guanyu from the looks of it. Oh no, he's right there again.
Oh, they've run wide.
Oh, because he ran wide. Okay, well that's saved us right now, so I'm gonna go back on neutral for a bit now that he's caught up. Actually, Pierre is also staying with Carlos. That gap has come down a little bit. It was over 6 seconds previously. It's now under 5.5, or around 5.5. Of course, Sainz should be on a set of the mediums, right? Yes, he is. I don't know if he's going to be able to make them last.
That was a very good lap.
Oh, there you go. Pierre sets fastest lap. We are on lap 35. The 23 laps to go in the race, and Pierre is the fastest man on the track right now. Probably won't last, but we'll see. Oh, they all pitted again. Okay. Interesting. So now we just got to see if we can stay with Zhou, and we should be able to get points. Sainz is probably on a set of the softs. No, he's on a set of the mediums, a fresh set of the mediums. Okay. Pierre is hanging on. Got 7 laps to go. But Sainz is right with him. He's trying to come up to lap the Hasses. Okay, let's watch Charles. Comes around. Final hairpin there for another win for Ferrari by 8.5 seconds. You watch Pierre, he's rounding, or has rounded the last hairpin as well. Crossed the line for P4. Pretty good effort there. Yuki is right on Zhou's tail. I think we're going to crank it up to overtake here. See if we can get around him maybe down the last straight. This is for another point. We're going to go all out aggressive here.
You can push harder.
On the tyres and the fuel. Having a look. Going for it. Yuki up the inside. Can he make the move stick? He has. No, he hasn't. But he's going to get P10.
Well, this weekend, Pierre Gasly flew us to the stars. I think AlphaTauri will be very pleased with that result.
Absolutely. Whatever they're doing over at the team garage, I should think they're going to keep on doing it.
And after this result, the team is 4th in the constructor standings.
Formula One will be back to Europe for the next round, on the shores of the Mediterranean, with some heated competition to look forward to in Spain.
Leclerc gets the win, holding off Sainz by 8.5 seconds. Perez a couple seconds further back rounds out the podium. Gasly and Hamilton complete the top 5 with Verstappen, Alonso, Ricciardo, Guan Yu and Tsunoda. Your points finishes. Sergio gets the bonus point for fastest lap. It was a good mix actually between the 1 and 2 stoppers. In the end, Yuki did gain a couple spots, so did Guan Yu, Ricciardo and Alonso, whereas Valtteri and George both lost out there. They stopped twice and couldn't get back into the points, finishing 11th and 12th respectively. Ocon in 13th, Stroll, really good effort there for the Aston Martins, up there in P14, Schumacher 15th, Vettel, Magnussen, Norris, Albon and Latifi rounds out the field. No retirements again, and everybody up to Ocon got lapped. Drivers' Championship, Leclerc pulls away a little bit. He's now got an 8-point gap over Carlos. Max dropped back after a pretty poor race by his standards, and Lewis dropped back a little bit on Pierre. That's always good for us as he re-establishes P5. Ferrari pull away in the Constructors' Championship, courtesy of their 1-2. Mercedes stay 3rd. We gain, I think, a little bit on them, courtesy of George's poor race, while Pierre able to finish in front of Lewis and Yuki picked up a point. So we gain a tiny bit of ground on Mercedes, but we look like we're going to stabilize in 4th, probably for the rest of the year. Money-wise, both of them get their bonuses, so we lose $910,000 there, but we still gain 2.3 mil overall, so we're still looking good on the cash front so far. And we are back at our HQ, so we'll put in the development point. I think this time I am going to go on defending for Pierre. And Yuki, I am going to go on, I think we'll go cornering again. We've got to get his pace up. He struggled the last couple of weekends, being 7 to 8 tenths consistently off Pierre, and that's not good enough. That's going to be it for episode 5 in our AlphaTauri career mode here. So join us next time as we head to Spain. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have an awesome day, like, subscribe, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.